So who goes first? Well, I will tell you one thing that I appreciated my dad told me. Now, he gave me this in marriage counseling, but I found this applies to preachers and fellowshipping, and that is, he told me, he said, if two people agreed on everything, one of them wouldn't be necessary.
Well, that's right.
And so, as a result of that, we have to be in agreement on our belief and our doctrine, and see, eye to eye on every essential Bible truth. But we can allow for, the Bible uses the word forbearance. And part of forbearing is to allow for a difference. That some people arrive at, decisions maybe sooner than I did or later than I did, in certain areas. And then others may feel a liberty, and I'm not talking about a liberty to sin, but a liberty, like for instance, I've known guys that think, if your church service doesn't start the same time theirs does, well, you're not right with God. There is no scripture that said thou shalt have Sunday school at 9 or 9:30 or 10,
Sure.
Or evening service at 5 or 6, or, and that's where I do believe, though, that when a church makes a decision, this is our time schedule, whatsoever is bound on earth is bound in heaven. And so for our people, I tell them, when our church is meeting, we need to be here. These are the times that, we've committed to in our relationship. I know churches that maybe have like a morning service, they'll have a meal and do their evening service all in one, swoop. And I had a good preacher ask me, he said, do you think that's biblical? And I said, actually it is. If that church agrees, that's what they're going to do. And, one of the dangers in ministry is that, we need to be separatists, but we don't need to be isolationists.
Yep.
Because what we saw today, after all these weeks of the, concerns with, stay at home, stay safe, is we're designed for fellowship.
That's part of our makeup as well as our religion, if you want to call it that.
Because that's where the strength comes in our people to be able to, be in one accord, to fellowship. And you saw today the great excitement. Even if, we're trying to be careful about not spreading germs, at the same time, people are like, man, I'm so glad to see somebody,
Yep.
Like faith and practice and just enjoy some good fellowship around the Word of God. And, and so I think that's important. And it's hard for me. I'm sitting in the presence of Brother Gwinn, who, is a much more seasoned man of God than I am. But I always think as a young man, I wanted to sit at the feet of men of God and listen and receive what they had. And sometimes I see with young preachers, a lot of the Facebook and other social media has created such a debate where I see young preachers that want to rebuke every preacher in the world for everything that hasn't ever pastored, or they haven't had the walk with God or the experience. Me, I want to listen to the men that have spent the years, as it was, serving in the trenches, and let me glean from them. Let me hear what they have to say, and learn that sooner or later we need each other, and that we need to fellowship, and and iron sharpeneth iron, and it's good for us to be able to learn, and to, if I have an area that I'm weak in, good fellowship with men will help strengthen me, and hopefully there's areas I'm strong in that I can help strengthen them.
One of our great difficulties, I'm afraid, as preachers and etc., is that we've gotten similar to the political scene.
Right.
If I disagree with you, and I'm not talking about on major doctrinal things, I can't have no fellowship with you, and if need be, I'll destroy you.
Right.
But the Bible simply says that we that are spiritual, suppose Galatians 6:1, restore the weak. Now, if something happened, I'm not talking again about major doctrine. In fact, the Bates, I probably shouldn't have called that name, but were kicked out, and the people in the church were told, don't even speak to them if you see them on the street.
Mm.
Well, would Jesus have done that? How are you going to restore a person like that if you do that? So we're not talking about doctrinal things
Right.
now. Again, I mean serious Bible doctrine stuff. But we, as so many times, it's so easy to become a preacher and say, "Well, I don't really agree with you. You know, you had service on Sunday afternoon, and I think you ought to have it on tonight. We can't fellowship with you because." And we, too many Baptist preachers have come to that.
Right.
And just we can't fellowship with you.
I
My
have-
people can't fellowship with
Yeah.
you.
Oh, and we had a missionary in Africa that had a church that dropped his support because they had their morning and afternoon service instead of a night service.
Yeah.
And, you know, the preacher actually told him, you know, that you're a compromiser. And he said, you know, the reason we do it at that time is our people are coming
Sure.
through the jungles.
Sure.
You know, we have dangerous animals and, you know, snakes and things. It's a whole lot easier to see those in the daylight. And, you know, to me, I think about a missionary friend that, you know, we knew years ago that went through a real heartache. Had a son die while they were on the mission field and came back to the States and took time not only to bury their son but go through the healing process. You know, his wife was just saw her son be buried, and there were actually some preachers that, you know, dropped support because felt like he took too long for furlough. And, you know, we get magic numbers in our mind like 1 year is it, you know, but really to me, the healing time their family needed first was more important, you know, to start the furlough to go a little longer to me is worth, you know, rebuilding their own spiritual strength.
Yeah.
And I would say that, you know, if we could recognize that, you know, we can have some difference of preference as far as what time service
Preference and
starts or
opinions.
opinions about things, and it's good to share those, and we can even learn, but we shouldn't crucify somebody
No, no.
or go to the social media and try to destroy them
Or say, my people, don't speak to them if you see them on the street.
Right,
Don't take
right.
them in. See,
Yeah.
I used to go to this place and preach.
Yeah.
I saw this same preacher after that, and how you doing? And he grunted and went on.
Yeah.
So I had no fellowship with him because of that. I remember as starting out, one of the first missionaries somewhere along the way that I had church 9 or 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, and Sunday night service was like 1 or 2 or something, or 3 or whatever. And I thought to myself, man, there's something wrong. I mean, you know, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Right.
But he said, Brother Gwinn, I've got people that walks 3, 4, 5 hours to get to church, you know.
Yes.
And you just made mention of the animals and stuff, and you know, just some. But people assume some things just like me with that,
Yeah.
you know, because I was starting out. But I made enough mistakes after that on
Sure.
other stuff, just as dumb. But yes,